If you are starting a blog or rebranding an existing one, choosing the right name for that particular blog is very, very important. Your blog's name is often the first impression your audience gets about your content. And in this particular video, I am going to share with you tips of how you can choose a great name for your blog. First step is defining your blog's purpose. It is important that before you choose a name for your blog, you have a clear understanding of what your blog is about and what it is intended to do. In some cases, your blog's name will reflect the topic that you are going to be writing about. But also, it's important to know that there are times that you may not need a name that reflects what you are writing about. You may look for a broad name, a name that can be brandable, and a name that you can grow into a serious business and not be tied to a particular topic. So all those are things that you need to be clear about before you choose or you pick the name. Step 2 involves brainstorming. You have a clear understanding of your blog's purpose. Now it is time to think or brainstorm about the ideas of the names that you would want to have. You can start by writing down keywords or key phrases that is related to what you are writing about. You can come up with a name that either reflects what it is that you are writing about, or at least that captures the imagination of your audience as well as yours. It is good to remember that when you are creating a name for your blog, you should always have your audience in mind. Remember, what you are doing is creating content that serves your target audience. So it is important to have that in mind as you come up with a name. This is because you do not want to come with a name that is controversial or a name that would offend sections or part of your audience, because that's not what you want to do. You want to create a name that will appeal to your target audience and that they can relate to, or at least that over time can become a brand that they associate with. Step 3 is about keeping it simple and memorable. When it comes to picking a name for your blog, simplicity is key. You want to get a name that is simple and memorable for your audience. And I'll give you a few examples. If you look at all the major brands, you'll find that most of them have very short names for their websites. Apple.com, Google.com, Facebook.com, Twitter.com. You can get inspiration from those brands. Get a short, memorable name, even if the name of your actual blogging business may be a totally different name and even a very complicated one. But when it comes to your blogs, you do not want to create a complicated name. You want your blog's name to be memorable and short so that it can be found online and your audience can be able to share it with other people or share your content with other people. Step 4 is about checking the availability of that name. Once you have a few names in mind and you have brainstormed or have written down a number of names that you want to use for your blog, the next step is about finding whether those names are actually available online. You can start by doing a Google search to find out if that name is already taken. You may also want to find out if the domain that is related to the names that you want is also available or they have been taken. Doing this kind of checkup or checking availability is very important because you do not want to create a brand or to have a name that is closely associated with another blog or that may have copyright issues, because you do not want to be taken to court because of using somebody else's name or a brand name that is already associated with a big company. You want to come up with a name that is unique and that does not share the domain with other companies. This is because once you have been able to check the availability and the name you have is available, then you can be able to proceed and secure it and pay for it so that then it can become yours. Step 5 is about branding. You need to think about how your name is brandable. When you are picking the name for your blog, it's important to also consider branding when it comes to the long-term growth of that particular blog. Your blog's name, as I had mentioned earlier, will be a reflection of not only your content, but also of the image that you want to portray to your audience. How will you want your name or your blog to relate to other people, or how will you want people to see your blog? It is important to ensure that your blog aligns with your values, your tone, and the overall brand identity that you want to have. Step 6 is that you should avoid limiting names. While it is important to ensure that your blog name is aligned to your blog's purpose and what you want to achieve in the long run, it is also important to ensure that you do not limit it too much. You do not want to box yourself into a topic that will make it difficult for you to expand in the future. This is because a blog is a living thing. It evolves, it changes, and the topics you might start with today may evolve over time. You may find that in 3 or 5 years from now, you may want to pivot your business into a different topic or into a different niche. You will not want to have a name that limits you, that boxes you into a very particular area or a very narrow topic. You want to have the flexibility to be able to cover as many topics as you may want. And that comes from picking a name that is not limiting to the aspiration that you have or that you have for your blog. Step 7 involves keeping SEO in mind. SEO in this particular case stands for search engine optimization. And what you realize very quickly is that the name you choose for your blog can have an impact on its search engine optimization strategies or things that you can do with it. That's why choosing a name for your blog is very important. There are cases where you have people who are using their own names as blog names. That is something that probably you may consider, because if you intend to build a personal brand, there is no better way to build a personal brand than using a name that you already have. And since there are chances that nobody else has your name, that may be a very good idea for you to build a blog around your name, because the brand of your blog is your name, and you can be able to move into different things that you enjoy and write about it. And if one topic is not working, you can always shift to another. Once you have picked the name for your blog, the next step that you want to really consider is getting hosting for that particular blog name, or at least getting hosting for the website that you are going to create. In fact, if you do want to learn more about how to choose your blog hosting provider, click or tap on the video on your screen right now. Subscribe if you have not subscribed, and I'll see you in the next one.